Hurricane Beryl ripped through Texas earlier this week. It left millions without power and lots of flood damage. That's when Red Cross volunteers across South Carolina stepped up to the plate. Our Isabel Mark is live at the American Red Cross of the Upstate with how this organization is helping across the country. Isabel.
Destiny, good afternoon. Volunteers from across South Carolina have donated their time and energy for 2 weeks, and they come prepared with blankets and other supplies supported by the American Red Cross. After Hurricane Beryl wrecked parts of Texas.
And there are some trees down, there's some houses damaged, the street lights aren't working. Only 2 out of 3 gas stations have gas.
A Low Country volunteer has stepped up to help.
I'm retired. I spent 34 years in public service, and I still feel like I want to help people.
And he's not the only one. Across all of the Red Cross organizations, there are 450 volunteers. 13 are from South Carolina.
Deployment is a really big part of our disaster response operation. So when the local Red Cross chapter or region is unable to provide the services for a large operation like this, that's when the rest of the network across the country comes in.
After the flooding this week, the main concern on the ground has been the intense heat.
But it's in the 90s here, and it's humid. I mean, I feel like I'm back in Beaufort, where I'm from, except maybe even a little hotter. And so it's important that we have places for people to come in, like our little place here, and get cool.
But despite the circumstances, Greg Schulte says spirits are high.
People are good. They're resilient. They're doing well. I think everyone's happy that this wasn't as bad as it could have been.
Schulte says he will be in Texas until the following weekend before he returns home to the Low Country and to his wife.
All right, Isabel, so how can other people in South Carolina get involved?
Yeah, Destiny. So the American Red Cross says if you want to get involved, you can head to their website to either donate or to sign up to volunteer. In Greenville, Isabel Marek, WYFF News 4.
All right, Isabel, thank you. In Commitment 2024, former President Donald Trump answering whether Florida Senator Marco Rubio will play a role in a potential administration if he isn't chosen as the vice presidential running mate. The search is down to its final days. Several contenders are in the mix and are in the vetting process, including Florida Senator Marco Rubio, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. An upstate political science expert says former President Trump and his vice president pick don't necessarily need to be agreement on all the major issues. It's just one of the many factors to consider when choosing a running mate.
And so if you're thinking about different boxes that you need to check in terms of maybe age being one of them, alignment with the former president on policy issues being another one, you can begin to look at each one of these candidates and try to put yourself in the former president's shoes and ultimately see which one aligns most directly with the former president. Of course, it also comes down to personality, and you're going to spend a lot of time with this person, and you got to ultimately like the person. And so, that will also factor into this as well.
The former president could make a decision anytime between now and the Republican National Convention, which begins on Monday. Meanwhile, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says she's not attending the Republican National Convention next week. A spokesperson says she was reportedly not invited. The former Republican presidential candidate also said she's releasing her 97 delegates and urges them to vote for Trump. The RNC is July 15th through the 18th in Milwaukee.
We're able to deter aggression and defend every inch of NATO territory across every domain: land, air, sea, cyber, and space. My friends, it's good that we're stronger than ever, because this moment in history calls for our collective strength.
President Biden on the world stage, kicking off a high-stakes NATO summit with 38 world leaders in Washington, D.C. This year is the 75th anniversary of the alliance. In his remarks, President Biden reaffirmed America's support for Ukraine, announcing additional air defense systems for the country, declaring that NATO is more powerful than ever. President Biden also honored NATO's Secretary General with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Opening statements began today in the involuntary manslaughter trial of actor Alec Baldwin in New Mexico. A jury was seated yesterday. Baldwin is charged for his role in the shooting that killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins on the set of Rust, the movie set that is. In October of 2021, Baldwin was rehearsing with a prop gun when the gun went off, killing Hutchins and injuring the movie's director. The actor has insisted the weapon misfired.
Well, good afternoon. We've got another really hot day and high levels of humidity. However, the humidity levels will be decreasing late tonight across the upstate and this afternoon for much of western North Carolina. It'll be a little less humid tomorrow as well. So there's some good news. The not so good news is we are going to be getting hotter. That's right, hotter next week. Let's start with the good news. Here we go. This wall of humidity, it's going away. That right there is cause to celebrate as we go into late tonight. Early tomorrow morning, you may wake up and think, wow, I don't actually feel the weight of the air when I step outside. It's going to be hot. Some of us will still be a little bit muggy, but it's not going to be that oppressive heat or that sweltering humidity, which is great. It will try and build back as we get toward the end of the weekend, and certainly by next week, it will be all about those high temperatures yet again. Let's take a look. Right now, we've got the remnants of Beryl, which is an area of low pressure bringing quite a bit of wind and rain to the Midwest, but it's also dragging a cool front. This cool front has shifted the winds across the mountains. It will do so across the upstate around 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. And then once we get rid of those south winds, we've got some nice dry north winds, and that's what's going to help lessen our humidity. We've also got a cluster of thunderstorms right off the coast of South Carolina, Georgia there, even Florida. It's got a 10% chance of developing here over the next few days, but what it will do is bring a lot of much needed rainfall to the coast of South and North Carolina, 2 to 5 inches at least. So good news there. Many folks on our coast are in a drought, just like us. Hey, let's take a look. We're not going to get any rainfall today, unfortunately. It's going to feel better and better, though, as the farther into the night we go. Tomorrow morning should feel pretty good. Tomorrow afternoon, we're back to sunny and dry. It's going to be a hot day, just not as humid. As we go into Friday, pretty much the same thing, except we've got a system just to the east of us that could give us some downpours Friday night, especially for eastern parts of our viewing area. What about the weekend? Well, still not much rain in sight. A couple isolated showers here or there in the afternoon, but a little bit less than normal, to be quite honest. As we go toward the middle part of next week, that's where we find the best chance of maybe some scattered, if not widespread rain next Wednesday, next Thursday, and maybe next Friday too. We'll see. In the meantime, back in the mid-90s today, a little less humid tomorrow and a little cooler to start the day and to finish. We'll be in the low 90s, low to mid-90s this weekend. Next week, oh, it's going to be hot. Back in the upper 90s for the upstate and even Asheville in the mountains. Low to mid-90s by Tuesday.
All right, thanks, Perla. Let's take a look at the stocks this afternoon. The Dow is up more than 137 points. NASDAQ is up more than 115 points. And S&P 500 is up more than 23 points. Well, whether it's swimming the length of a pool in the blink of an eye or turning multiple flips feet off the ground, Olympic athletes seem to defy the laws of physics. So our Sydney Shadrick sat down with a professor at Clemson to learn more about how physics plays a role in going for gold.
So here's a person and they are on a stool. So they're standing on this stool.
This is one way to learn the laws of physics.
We're going to have them bring these heavy weights in.
And this is another.
Physics and sports are really kind of the same thing, I'd like to think. It's called conservation of angular momentum.
Amy Pope teaches the physics of sports class at Clemson University.
It's very fun to take a sport and just really delve in and talk about the principles that make it possible.
So, what are the principles that come into play when it comes to some of our favorite Olympic sports?
Physics plays into every part of gymnastics.
From tumbling on the mat,
you'll notice that they're running flat out in a sprint, and then all of a sudden they convert that energy into a vertical energy. So we convert from a kinetic energy into a potential energy.
To balancing on the beam.
So if you chalk up your hands, you're going to have more friction between your hands and the beam.
And when it comes to swimming,
drag is one of the top things that you have to consider.
So swim caps and suits, even shaving, all used to reduce drag.
Understanding the physics behind your sport can actually give you a very competitive edge.
And in a world where every second and every point counts,
The athletes intuitively know a lot about physics, but it's also a mental game.
Pope says, make sure science is on your side.
Because at the level of the Olympics, you're having to utilize every single advantage that you possibly can.
In Clemson, Sydney Shadricks, WYFF News 4.
Amazing story there. Well, remember, WYFF News 4 is your Olympics coverage home. The opening ceremony is set for Friday, July 26th.